YouTube video link. It's just going to show you exactly what you're seeing here, the recorded audio between both of us, and then, of course, the screen share of what you're seeing. Excuse me. So when you first open up Araya, this is what you're going to see. This is what we call our dashboard. The first screen here is just sort of a quick overview of what's going on. So you'll see your channel name up here, and then there's a couple things. We've got a quick link to tutorials on our YouTube account. I'm also going to show you, well, actually, while I'm here, I want to show you the Araya website. And the Araya website here is a really great resource. We pretty much maintain our user, our knowledge base. We try to update this weekly even, and we have different articles about pretty much anything you may have a question about. Everything in this section is going to be typed out, and then we also embed YouTube videos. And in that same support section, back on the main website, we also maintain our YouTube account where we do screencasts similar to this, showing off different features, sorry about that, different features of Araya. So if you are curious of messing around in your Araya account and messing around with some widgets, we do have a pretty extensive library of screencasts in here too you can look at. So going back to the Araya dashboard, this is, like I said, what you're going to see when you first come into Araya. And there's a couple different things here. The first thing I'm going to show you down here is viewers. This is going to show you a live feed of who is viewing your signage at any given time. So this can be, it might not be super applicable for you since you are just going to have static displays, but we sometimes use this when we share a URL out to like parents, or if it gets posted somewhere and you want to see if people are able to pull it down right then and there and how many people are sort of looking at the URL at one given time. And then up here in the top right, we have some quick links, and I'll get into these individually a little bit later. And then right below this is your URL of your signage. So everything in Araya is URL based. So you can send this URL right here, and I'll bring it up for you right now. And this is a direct link to your signage. So anything that has a browser can pull up your signage just like this. So say you want to send out an email to parents or maybe someone interested in seeing what's going on at the school, you can send this URL to them and they can see what is going on your signage at any given time. So pretty much anything with a browser can pull up this URL.
And at the same time, where that URL is, we just need /login, and then that takes you to the login window for user and password to enter this section. So it's a URL /login, and then you'll enter your email and the login password.
And then we can, of course, provide you those links so you can bookmark them or however you need to do that. So then up here is the main navigation area of Araya. Each one of these is a different screen with pertinent information. So the first one I'm going to show you is content. And I'm going to actually skip over this presentations one quick. We'll get into that a little bit more in depth in a bit. The next one is media library. This is where you're going to spend most of your time dealing with pictures, videos that you upload directly to Araya. And here in the media library, this is going to show you everything that you've ever uploaded to your Araya account. So the way you go about adding media is pretty simple. We have a big green add media button. And this brings up our what we call our file picker. Excuse me. And this is a little bit different than your traditional file picker dialog. So you can still use it traditionally where you'd select an image or something off your drive or an image off your desktop that you want to upload. Pretty simply like that. You just select something, hit open, and it uploads it like a standard file uploader. But a couple of the other options we have in this file picker are we're able to pull media, not only images but video and other things from different services. So say you have a Facebook album that you've uploaded the pictures to, and you want to steal those directly from Facebook, you can log in right here, copy over all your photos without having to download them individually from an album, re-upload them. And we actually tie into quite a few different services. So like you see Drive, Amazon, Cloud Drive, OneDrive, tons of different services. You can pull images and other media in without having to download it to your desktop and worrying about sifting through all that. And then another one that's kind of cool we like to use is you can actually do web images search. So if you do want, a sort of clip art type image to pull into your signage, you can quickly search for something for like a clip art type image and add stuff in that way. So that's kind of cool if you're just looking for a quick image to add in. And then deleting images is just as easy as hitting delete. And then we do also have a built-in little photo editor. If you say want to go in and crop out a specific area of a photo or something, if you want to, there's some filters and some other things, you can go in and hit the edit button. And this brings up a simple editor where you can go in and crop images without having to bring the images into like another utility.
Any questions for Media Library?
Nope.
This would be probably where you'd import, in the bottom left corner of your template, I have the slideshow going to photos. If there's new photos, new updates, you bring them into Media Gallery and then select them into the slideshow, which we'll get into next.
Yep, so like Marco was saying, in the bottom left-hand corner of the template we set up for you, we have a slideshow. And this is going to be under the content menu. We've got the slideshow screen. And this is where we're going to list out all of the slideshows that you've created in your Array account. So if you do ever in the future want to create a new slideshow, it's just as easy as hitting new slideshow, and you'll fill in your basic information. And then they'll bring up a dialog similar to this, where this is the slideshow we already created for you that has some, some images in it. I think it's, like Marco said, it's in the bottom left corner of your template right now.
Yep, and the slideshow window, it's live. When you move things around in here, it's going to update your slides. When you delete a slide, it's going to delete it from this folder. It won't delete it from your media gallery. And this folder links directly to a widget that we've placed it on the layout design. And so that's where that widget is calling the folder to pull up what photos to play in that slideshow. And this can even include a video. So you can have two still photos. Maybe there's a video clip and then another still. So there's possibilities there to arrange it however you want.
Yeah, and like Marco was saying, if you do want to come into Araya and edit a slideshow, you don't need to go in and edit the presentation directly. You can do it right here from the slideshow portion of the Araya dashboard.
Can you add like a title if you were doing a slideshow of like a specific event? Or can you?
It has to come in. It's an image. It's just plain an image. So that slide would have to be added to the photo before it's brought into the slideshow folder.
So the final section, which I don't think is going to be super applicable, is we have a list management software called Listies. In the future, if you're interested, we can do things like donor lists and large lists that we can easily manage. And another part of Listies we have is we have a way of organizing events using Listies too. So in the future, if you're interested in something like that, we can talk more about that. So I'm going to hop back into the. What do you think next? Do you want to hop back in?
We can cover the schedule and
okay.
Just mention quick because that'll be.
So this area is scheduling. So this is going to basically it's when your presentations are going to be displayed. This might not be super applicable. Right now we just have one presentation being displayed all the time. But say you have a special event going on, or maybe you want to put up signage during the holidays. You can go in here and create a dedicated presentation that has a splash screen or something like Happy Holidays, and schedule that presentation to be running all the time. So your normal signage won't be displaying, but you can display another presentation instead for like a special event. So that's easy as going in and getting your schedule and changing. Right now we only have the default presentation in there, but like I said, you can create another presentation and change which presentation is being displayed at any given time.
This is sometimes used by schools, live video feed. They'll set up a second one ready to go. They can get into their schedule and flip back and forth between their digital sign and then their live feed template they set up. and we'll have that link in live, and all their screens will show a sporting event or an announcement from a principal, some things like that.
Any questions on scheduling?
Right now, typically your schedule will just continuously run and won't really change unless you wanted to do, like Josh talked about, the change of a template or a theme to it.
So if you don't have any questions on scheduling, I'll go ahead and move on. The next tab might not be, once again, super applicable, but this is our analytics tab. This is more used in our interactive screens, but this can give you, some general information about what's going on with your account and what devices are accessing it at any given time. And then the next tab you might spend some time in here initially is the management tab. So the first thing is the devices tab. So this is going to be applicable with mainly your Chrome devices, but what you'll see here is a list of the people viewing the Array account, more specifically like a client app, for example, like the Chrome app on a Chrome device, or the Chrome app on a Chromebit or something like that. These will show up individually, and you'll also have the option to remove a device connected to the account, and also refresh a device, which is basically hitting refresh in your browser, and that can sometimes clear out any bad data that came down due to, like network interruptions. Next section here, which also might be applicable, is the user tab. So right now we're in your super admin user account, but say you want to add a user in here who only has access to, there's 3 different levels of user in here. You have an admin, a manager, and a viewer. So the viewer role probably isn't super applicable. Once again, if you want your signage to be private, you can have viewer account, and that will restrict viewing to just whoever is logged in at a given time. Then you have your manager account, who has access to pretty much everything except for billing, and then finally the admin account, which is what we're in right now, and that has access to your billing information.
And you're going to give us that account when you're done, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we can set you up, or we can do it here. The last, it's use your email, we set a password, and then once that individual has that access, they can go in and make all those changes. The active button, is that?
Yep, so then the active button, say if you have somebody that doesn't need access for it, a given time, and you don't want them to have access, you can go into each user and make them active or inactive.
You always want to make sure that's checked after you fill it all in to
Yep.
get the activity.
And then like Marco was saying, what we can do is if you do have like a list of users, you initially want in, we can add those for you. Or once you have access to this admin account, you can go in and add people individually.
Okay.
So that's the user section. It's pretty straightforward. And then the next section, which might not be super applicable, once again, is your channel section. So right now you do only have the one channel, and you can go in here and there's some general settings you're probably not going to want to mess with. But in the future, if you do have extra channels, you can come in here, and each channel has a login button, so you can switch between channels pretty easy.
This would be a second type subscription that has totally different content, maybe a different means or purpose that would be used to outside of what we're currently doing. So it'd be our second type signage system content.
Okay.
And then the last 2 are general account settings. And this is where you'll also come in and if you want, I'm not sure, are they doing invoice? So billing, so this probably is
It's a yearly.
Okay.
We'll change things for you, Karen, and said.
So this section isn't going to be really needed for you. And then the invoices section, this will eventually get populated with like a monthly, just a record of transactions. So now I'm going to hop back into under the content tab and then go under the presentations. And this is going to be where you're going to be spending most of your time while editing a presentation. And right now we have the one template that Marco set up for you here. But I do encourage, if you ever want to go in and mess around with any widgets, if you just want to or make another presentation, just to display at a certain time. You can always go in here and create another presentation. This doesn't go live; it doesn't cost any extra, but you can go in and mess around with the editor if you do want to create a new presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and hop in to the template that Marco set up. So this is the first thing I like to say is this is what you see is what you get. So what's going on in this editor is exactly what you're going to be seeing on the screen. And not all of these buttons are going to be, some of these buttons in here are for our interactive side of signage. So a lot of it isn't going to be used in your case going in, daily, day-to-day editing probably won't be super used, but I'll show you just a quick overview of some of the things it can do if in the future you decide to choose to utilize all of Araya. So some of the buttons on top, we have a way to insert touch buttons. This is for our interactive side, like I was saying, not super applicable. But one of the things Marco was saying is there was a potential you were going to go in and put in a text box under here and insert or have someone fill in this every day. Was that still the plan for updating this side of the screen right here?
Yes.
Okay.
We also need to be able to change the today's day to whatever day it is.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yep.
And then we're also going to show you a way, Marco also had mentioned, I'm not sure if he introduced you to Google Slides or if you guys used it in the past, but I also want to show you how we could do this side with Google Slides as well to maybe streamline it a little bit so you can spend more time in Google Slides and just having to push your changes once.
We're a Google school, so we have familiarity with Google Slides.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's good to hear. So I'll show you this way quick. If you do want to come in here and edit the text manually, it's pretty simple. This is, it's really similar to like a Word or maybe like a PowerPoint in this sense. So you have text boxes. So if you do want to edit text, you just simply, double click, and that brings up a text toolbar here at the top. And say it's, oops, I think I need to send that. Selected the wrong thing here, sorry about that. So once you do select a text box and have your text selected, like I said, it's a standard, text editing toolbar. So say it's, day A or rotation A, you can come in here and select that simply and edit that header right there. And then beneath it, if you want, a bulleted list or something.
The day 8, is that a certain day, or would it be Thursday or a date, or how does that?
We're on a 6-day rotation schedule, so it's day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
So then you can put in, text just like a standard text editor in here if you want to do something.
Mm-hmm. It's straightforward.
Yeah, it's just a box back there.
Okay.
You probably end up deleting that box behind.
Okay. So then, so that's the text box. So that's probably what once this is set up, you probably won't be in here a whole lot using a whole lot of these options. You'll just be in here, double clicking and editing the text. The next button over here at the top is a way to just insert anything from your media library. So say you want to, bring in a picture that takes up half of the screen or something at any given time. You can easily come in here, anything from your media library. So this isn't just an image, but also a video or anything you decide to upload. You can come in here and insert that image and play around with it like that.
Can you bring in PDFs?
Yep, you can bring in PDFs.
First page of PDF.
Yeah, any non-standard image format or multi-page document like that will bring in just the first page.
Just the first page, yeah.
Yep. And that supports full transparency, and that all gets converted on our end, so you don't need to worry about basically any file conversion.
Can you bring in like a long list and have it scroll up or down in your text box?
Not in the text box like that, but I guess there is a couple different ways to do that. I'll get in. We have a thing called a marquee widget. That I'm not sure if that's super close to what you're asking about, but you can type in, like a marquee and have that scroll across.
Yeah, okay.
Well, just say you had 10, 10, 12 lines of announcements and you want it to scroll through each time.
We can do something similar. That might be a little bit more of a reason to use Google Slides for this announcement side of it. You can have a slideshow like thing over here with, one announcement at a time flipping through.
Yeah, there's no easy way to control like that automatic control of scrolling through up and down. You're talking if the list is 20 long and up and down it keeps moving and changing. No, we don't have a feature that can do that. We do have the listees that you can use and put in daily features, and every day it will have the next 10 events and then show 15 for the next few days, and after a day expires, the next 15 fill it and does that automatically, but that's not really what you're after here. So.
Okay.
So then the next button at the top, we just have a couple simple ways if you want to block out a specific area or something. If you just want to make a colored box or square, you can do this and section out a specific area of the screen.
Every object, one thing to get into is the styling of everything you bring into the editor. In the bottom right hand corner, there's a trash can to delete it, but also there's a styling button. That's a paintbrush, and the window comes up to style any object, any text box, and you can control font sizes in here. You can add shadows around the corners. You can do that specific styling for the page in here.
So like I was mentioning before, it might always be worth going in and playing around with some of these styling things, because you don't necessarily have to push any of this live if you do want to mess around. But like Marco was saying, every object here in Arraya, you are able to style it. You necessarily need to go to an outside like Illustrator or Photoshop to add simple effects. So we do have styling on every object here in Arraya. So I'm going to jump down. I'll come back to the widgets real quick, but I want to jump down and talk about the toolbar at the bottom. It's pretty self-explanatory of, your delete, rotate. We do have our layers dialog, or there's the style, but we do have our layers dialog right here, which may be semi-useful. So it's fairly similar to Photoshop, where you have a list of layers and you can turn off visibility. So say you want to, mess around with the background, you can go in and disable, visibility on your widgets on top. So that's an easy way to sort of, work on stuff that you can't necessarily edit easily. That's maybe on top of other layers. And then we have our, typical cut, copy, paste. And then we also have our copy style button. So if you do have, say, one widget with styling you want to copy over to a new widget you just created, that's what that button does. And then undo, redo, pretty explanatory. And then we got a couple other zoom options. And then this right here is another not super applicable thing for your case. It's our pages dialog for our interactive side, and then just general editor settings. So here you can turn off audio, you have a crosshair, and then you can set up a grid for widgets and other objects to snap to. And then before I come back over to the widgets, up here in the top right, you can set your general page settings. So here you can set your default text color, your default font, background image, background color. You probably won't be messing with these a whole lot. And then basically the most important button here in your presentation editor is our push live button. So you don't really ever save in Arraya. You can save a draft, but when you want to push something out to the signage, you use this push live button. So once all your edits are changed, you'll go up here and push live, and that will push out all your changes to any of the devices connected, or also any of the browsers showing it. And it's instantaneous. It's like less than a second. There's no need to go out and refresh, any of the devices individually. It pushes the updates. And then, of course, just closing out of the editor right there. And then I'm not going to go in super in depth with these, but I do encourage you, if you want to come and mess around with some of these widgets. We didn't use every widget here, but some of them are cool to play around with. We do have the marquee widget, which I showed a little bit ago. And then Marco has used our time and date widget up here in your presentation already. And if you ever do want to go in and edit this, we have a lot of different formats you can choose. So if you don't necessarily like this in the future, it's really easy, to come in here and edit that. Then we have a couple other. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, keep going.
Oh, okay.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are your edits saved between sessions if you don't make them live?
The save, you have to save the draft.
So if you're making edits and you don't necessarily want to push it live at a given time, underneath this push live button, you have a save draft. So there's a draft, like a working copy, and then you have your live version. So there's no saves, and that's just so the saves, it doesn't get lost in a in between state that you don't want it pushed live. There's only two versions. You've got the draft and then what's actually shown on the screen. And then another cool one is a countdown widget. So say, 25 days till Christmas or something, you can say that pretty easily. And that's a cool way to put something, on the signage, just to, have a countdown till a special day. You can go in here and select how many days, how many hours, how many seconds. So that's kind of cool to show off.
Sometimes schools use that for finals week, is in 10 days, 6 hours, that many minutes.
Yep.
You can do a countdown.
Let's add to the stress level.
Yeah. Hopefully not too
Or
much.
school is over in 276 days. But it's a way to have current content is what they like.
Are you going to show us what the links on the slide and the Twitter widget look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can show you that some.
Which is kind of important.
Yeah, I had to refresh there. It looks like we lost internet. But here's an example of that countdown widget like I was showing. And then this down here in the bottom left corner that Marco added, this is a slideshow. So this pulls directly from one of the first things I showed you in Arraya, which was the slideshow area. This is what's displaying while you're editing that. So the way you'd add a slideshow, if you do ever go in and want to add another slideshow, is our slideshow widget. So from there, you get a list of those exact same slideshows that we saw earlier, and it's as easy as selecting it here. But if you do want to go in and edit something quickly, we also have a direct link to that same dialog box where you can go in and add slides, delete slides. And another thing that's important in this box is each individual slide, you can edit settings on it. So say you want one slide, if you have a special message or something on top of one slide, you can go in and have that slide display for 15 seconds instead of like the default that you set for the overall slideshow.
Well, and it looks like you can write a caption.
Yeah, you can display a caption underneath most slides too. It's pretty standard. It's not like dynamic or anything. So if you do want to make something a little bit better looking, typically we recommend doing that outside of Arraya in some sort of design program or PowerPoint or something.
It would kind of default down below it, I believe. And so you'd have to arrange a bit of different layout to handle that.
But that's how you go about adding another slideshow if you wanted. And like I was saying before, each individual slide can be overridden, but your overall settings are edited right here in this dialog box. So you can change your overall transition, how long you want that transition to last, how long you want that slide to display, and then a couple other options. If you want the images to fit or fill the box. And then for interactive side, you're able to move through a gallery. And then right here is where you turn on those captions if you wanted to see them. So that's how you add another slideshow, just like Marco did before. So then after that, we have our YouTube widget. So this one's kind of cool. Like Marco was saying, I'm not sure if your school ever live streams sporting events, or if you guys ever have any YouTube videos or anything you want to show, but you can pretty easily integrate those right here in Araya. And like I was saying, anything that's streamed through YouTube can actually be put on here too. So this isn't just a recorded YouTube video. If you do have something streamed you want to show, you can pretty easily just bring that in. And then for the interactive side, you have the ability to play and pause videos, and then whether or not you want to start the video, which you probably want to, and if you want to loop the video over and over. Then Google Maps slideshow, pretty self-explanatory, probably not super applicable. If you want to put in a static map, that's a cool way to do that. A couple ones you might find interesting. We fully support RSS feeds. Some of the information you're pulling in probably won't be available in an RSS feed, but lots of government sites, lots of news sites provide an RSS feed, which is just an easy way to get usually like text data. And then some of our other clients are using it. We have a custom field way of doing it, like a custom table where they're bringing in different types of data to display differently using this RSS widget. And then it does also support the slideshow function of Araya. So if you do find a cool RSS feed of, a feed of images or something, it can display it that way. Then stock chart, probably not super applicable for you guys. This one's kind of cool. We have a thing called Embedly. So what this does is it just gives you a quick, like a one-page sort of like a run-through or like a preview of a website. So if you have like a Facebook post, maybe like at the beginning of the year or something like cheers to a good school year, and it's going to be up for a long time, you can put in the URL of this Facebook post and it'll give you a quick preview. It pulls down sort of what Facebook and other content providers deem the most important information on the page. So typically, if there's an image displayed or like a caption, it will pull that in and create like a cool preview. And then we've got skip down a little bit too far. We can pull in other types of web content. Pretty much any website that allows embedding has to allow HTTPS too. So it has to be a secure website. And I don't think our example of time.com actually allows that anymore. And that's unfortunately pretty common. But if you do find a website you want to embed this, we can embed it that way. It just has to be a secure HTTPS and allow embedding. And then we do have an HTML editor. Might not be, probably won't be in here too much messing with that. But if you do have some HTML code you want to embed, you can do that pretty easily using that widget. I'm not sure, are they?
Yeah, no listies, no weather, QR code generator, and Google Calendar. No.
Okay, so these are our premium widgets.
No.
We do charge for these widgets, and that's just because we pay for the data.
But if you'd like.
These widgets probably aren't super applicable for you guys. You guys probably won't be using these. And then it looks like I must have deleted this widget accidentally, but at the bottom is our Twitter widget, which Marco went ahead and added for you. And we do have a couple different ways of grabbing tweets. So we can pull pretty much all the tweets from a given username. A cool one that another school is using is our list feature. So in Twitter, you can create a moderated list of users, and this will display just that list of users. So in that case, the principal there had, I think there's like 10 or 15 different accounts for each club or sports team at the school that he wanted to follow. So on his account, he goes in and creates this list, and it'll only display tweets from that moderated list of users. And then we also have the ability to search. This one probably isn't super recommended just because it can have some malicious. Sometimes kids like to have fun with hashtags and stuff, but you can search by a hashtag or a search term and display tweets that way. And then most of the widgets that do have, different slides of information being provided also have all of our slideshow functions attached to them, which you'll see in this tab. And that allows you to do different transitions and display times for each slide, pretty similar to the way we were doing the slideshow before. So I can just show you this real quick. Quick little plug for the Araya Twitter account, but that's how you go about creating a Twitter feed just like that.
The Twitter account we used, was that, I know Karen, you sent me the link. Is that still what you wanted to use?
Yeah.
Is that how it was working correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, just the principal's tweets.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's fairly simple.
we sent you.
Okay.
Finally would be the Google Slides. We'll show you how that runs.
Yep. So over here is the Google slideshow that you shared with Marco. So your typical workflow would be coming in here to Google Slides, and the way it integrates with Araya is you do all of your edits here in Slides, but you don't necessarily want your edits to go live while you're editing them. So what you do is you come in and make all of your edits. So say I want, to add a new slide just like this one, but say something, slightly different. And then once this is saved here in Google Slides here, you would come back to Araya, and typically you would be opening Araya after doing these edits. So now you would go back in and reopen your presentation. And now once this goes through, you'll see my updated slide. And then to actually push this update, you go ahead and you push the push live button.
Okay.
So these slides aren't going to change until you go in here and push live. And the reason we do that is just so, like I said before, you don't want changes being pushed while you're editing them.
Right.
So that's the way we get around it. You come into your presentation and hit push live.
Okay.
The other thing that's great is that in Google, if you put any transitions and slides and flips and fades and some of those fun things to show some different things going on, it does translate into Araya, and it'll take those actions. So the other question we brought at the beginning is the content, whether today is the day. That could also be set up as a Google slide. You'd log in and give permission to whoever, just like you've done for myself, people to get in there, make changes to that slide page, and then come into Araya and just hit push live.
Okay.
And they kind of, if you're already doing something in slides already in the right-hand side, and you do another thing in sets for today's events, you only have to learn the one side of it, and not really have to get into Araya a second time and get into the texting and doing all those other things that may have a little bit more learning curve or just not as comfortable doing all the time. Someone doing it daily would get pretty used to it and get pretty efficient at it. But if that person was ever to, say, be sick or be out, who can handle that? It could simply be a login to Google Slides to make that update.
So that would be as simple as we'd create another, Google slide, like a slideshow, and you'd only have one slide in it, and you just go in and, edit that first slide with the information you want, and then all you'd have to do is go into Araya and hit that push live in the presentation, and it would just pull that current slide down.
Yes.
So that's definitely something we can do really easily. We've already got it set up in here. It'd be super simple to do that on the left-hand side too.
Yeah. That will be the easiest thing to do.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's not too hard to come in here and add text or anything, but like Marco said, if you're already in slides, you might as well tie that side into it as well.
All right.
So I kind of ran through stuff quick, but do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, we want to know how we can log in.
Me or Marco can send you over the login. You can sign in right now and add users, or if you want everybody to share the same one, or however you want to set that up.
You'll send that to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Good, thank you.
Those smart devices, have you tried just bringing up our array on those?
On what? On
those screens? You said they're the smart.
Yeah, the smart boards.
they're just Windows computers.
Okay.
And then it seems to work fine on the Chromebooks. The only thing I can't bring it up on is my iPhone.
Really?
Nope, it won't load. It's loading on my iPad, but not my phone.
Might be a browser version thing.
Is it a current phone on it, or?
It's a 6S and it's updated, so yeah.
And
you know what? It's not a big deal. It doesn't.
Well, we'll note that and see.
Yeah, well, look, that's really
I
weird.
have an iPad Pro and it's fine, so.
Yeah, we've tested it with Safari quite a bit, so that's definitely an interesting one. But with those smart boards, if they are, just a Windows box running, either Edge, Edge or Chrome or something like that, then definitely shouldn't be any issues.
Yeah.
And then, are those smart boards touch enabled too?
Yes.
Yeah, so you might be able to do some cool things with interactive stuff in the future if you're interested in that. That could be cool.
Okay. All right. I don't know. What do you think, Kristen? I think we have enough to get started.
I think we have enough to get started. Can we, once we get in there to play around, are the template sizes set in stone, or can we make the picture slideshow like a little bigger and maybe make the, can we change the different text boxes sizes, or is this set in stone?
It's all edible, and we can show you. Just grab some things. Right now, everything's grabbing.
Yeah, so you can easily. Yeah, nothing's locked in. You can definitely go around and mess around. And like I was saying, if you want to go in and create another presentation, you don't have to push it live. If you just want to go in and mess with the editor, that's really simple. You can create as many presentations as you want, so I do encourage going in there and messing around with the editor.
Okay.
One thing that kind of is set is that Google Slides, the communication back and forth, the page size inside Google Slides, you'll see matches the same shape and box that's in our editor.
Okay.
So that it pulls it and fills the area well. And which, if we were going to do this today as in Google Slides, we'd also create a more rectangular one, so when you're doing the page and laying that out, it fits well and will translate well. Otherwise, if it's small and skinny, it comes in here and it'll leave some blank areas. It may starting to look like this type of thing going on if you start moving these around. So the template is updatable and changed, and
you can go around and you send that one.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
back.
Okay.
So yeah, you can definitely go in and mess with anything you want.
There, you can see there are layers. That's the thing, clicking around, getting the feel of where things are at. I grabbed that background rectangle, which is this white box. That's because behind it, on everything, I put the blue tone to the template as the background color of the blue, and I put this white box in front. But then we can delete it and it's gone, those type of things, and redraw. So these are things, learning how things are working and getting comfortable to do that. But yeah, it's all edible and updatable. So now I just kind of recreated that piece, and I'll send it back, and then we're back to the beginning.
Okay. Great.
So if you don't have any more questions, I think I've got some information about the smart board. I might be able to send you over a little bit more detailed information, but it sounds like you've already sort of got that handled if you can pull it up. The only question would be is if you want to, install like the Chrome app or something to bring it up automatically or something. We can. There's a lot of information about that on that knowledge base that we maintain on our website. That's also another good place for information if you are just curious and have some time to mess around. There's a lot of cool stuff on there too.
Okay.
So if you don't have any more questions, we can send you off an email with that login information. You can go in and add in your users and just mess around.
That would be great. Yeah, I'll get that, and I'll probably do that tomorrow morning. I have to get ready for a presentation tonight, but.
And just to confirm that today is day, you want to change that to a Google slide?
Yeah,
I think that.
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, and we can just set that up for you real quick. It's
Yeah.
pretty easy.
If you want to, Karen, share another Google slide with me, and I'll go in and do all the pieces and parts, and you own that slide. Okay.
And then those slides have to be shared to me.
Yep. Everything will be, yeah.
All right,
And then eventually we'll just turn the ownership of all of them over
Yeah.
to you.
perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you. All
Yeah, no worries.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
right. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye bye.